Khash Saghafi, Liberty Home Mortgage. What am I talking about today? How do you dispute an appraisal? So especially if you're a real estate agent watching me, okay? Appraisals are coming in a little bit. Some of them are coming in short of the purchase price, but they always have. It's always happened. There's been periods of time when it's happened more than others. Anyways, I get asked all the time, Khash, can we argue with the appraiser over this? The answer is yes, you can. You can dispute an appraisal or the appraised value. Now, I will tell you just straight up front, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to win, okay? There's very specific criteria that you have to stay within when you're doing that, and that starts becoming part of the problem. In the world of appraising, appraisers don't go by, for the sales comparison approach, they don't go off of price per square foot. Real estate agents' minds think in terms of price per square foot, okay? You can't say, well, this house that's 3,000 square feet sells at $250 a square foot, and this house, the subject, is 800 square feet, and at $250 a square foot, it should be $170,000 or whatever it is. It doesn't work like that, okay? It doesn't at all. It's called the sales comparison approach for a reason. So this is how you go about disputing an appraisal. Most appraisal management companies will have a form that you could fill out, or you could just send an email depending on how they handle it. But you want to pull up your own comparables. So let's just pretend you're doing a purchase and the purchase price is $300,000 and the house appraises at $270,000, okay? So the appraisal is $30,000 short of the purchase price. And you're sitting here saying, listen, this thing's worth every dollar of $300,000. How do you dispute it? As the real estate agent, you want to pull up comparables that fit into these criteria. Now, I will tell you this. We lend in 45 states, and everything I'm telling you is the same across 50 states, so it doesn't really matter, okay? But you want to pay attention to this. You want your comparables to be within 20% of the subject's square footage. You want your comparables to be within 20% of the subject's square footage. That means if the subject is 1,000 square feet, you want your comparables to be between 8 to 1,200 square feet. Now, as with everything I always talk about, are there exceptions to the rule? Yes, okay? Of course there's exceptions to the rule. There's exceptions to the rule for everything, okay? Whether it's medicine, education, science, history, whatever it is, there's always exceptions. But what I'm telling you is going to cover 90% of what you have to do. Make sure the square footage is within 20% of the subject for your comparables. So you think the appraiser should have used a different comparable. Another one is you want them to have sold hopefully within the last 6 to 12 months, within the last 1 to 2, well, I almost said 1 to 2 years, the last 6 to 12 months, so within the last year. They have to have sold relatively recently. You can't pull up a sale from 2 years ago. I mean, you could, but they're going to throw it straight out the window, okay? You want to pay attention that it's the same style home, okay? So if it's a 2-story, you want to pull up a 2-story. If it's a ranch or a 1-story, pull up a 1-story. If it has no basement, pull up houses with no basements. If it has a basement, pull up houses with basements. You want to pull up homes that are the same style. Lastly, you want to go within a reasonable distance of the subject property. You want to stay in the same city. Now, mind you, this is probably the biggest difference depending on the location, just because in the United States, there's so many different areas. I've done loans in northern Michigan where the comparable properties were 30 miles away. I did one in Southern California one time out in Riverside County where the comparable, I think, was like 45 miles away. So, I mean, for God's sakes, if you're in the middle of the desert or something like that, you're gonna go pretty far. But pay attention to the distance. If you're in a suburban area, don't go too far out. The big points to pay attention to when you're disputing an appraisal: square footage, style, distance of the comps, and the sales date. Pay attention to those 4 parts. Submit those to the management company. They will send them to the appraiser. The appraiser will look at them. Just being completely honest with you, 9 times out of 10, they'll throw them out the window and say, my opinion is my opinion, and I've already given it and it's done. But you will win sometimes. I've won some battles out there, but you want to pay attention. It's not the easiest battle to fight, but the answer to the question is yes, you can dispute an appraisal. And how do you dispute it? That's how you dispute it. pull up what you believe is comparable, send it to the management company, they'll send it to the appraiser, you'll get an answer within a few days, and that's how you do it. As always, keep watching my videos, subscribe to my YouTube page, share this with your friends, and if you have questions, call me. I do lend in 45 states.